Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. UFC 280 is done and gone. But just as I did, guys, before the fights yesterday, I came in and I gave my predictions, for the six most important fights, on the card. And so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna come back and we're gonna go through them very quickly. But I'm gonna say that I had three of the fights right, and I got three of them wrong. So lose, 1-3, lost three. That's just the fight game. So anyway, so we're gonna start out just like we started last night, with the featured bout at the preliminary card between Bilal Muhammad and Sean Brady. It was a great fight. At the beginning of the fight, it seems like Sean Brady was gonna be okay. He caught Bilal Muhammad with a couple of good shots, but toward the end of round one, you could see Bilal Muhammad started to get his rhythm. He started to get into the fight, and I think by round two he was very I would say very surely taking control of the fight, and by end round he won by TKO. The fight, I think there was like 15 seconds left, but the referee called it, and it was a TKO for Bilal Muhammad. Sean Brady protested. Obviously, there are certain referees that might have let it go. I mean, we have seen places where fighters were pretty much out, but the referee let them play, and they come back and sometimes even win the fight. So, but anyway, so the referee, stopped it, and Bilal Muhammad won by TKO. But Bilal Muhammad looked phenomenal. So, hats off to you, Bilal Muhammad. Sorry, I mean, at the beginning when the fight was announced, I picked you to win, but then I switched my mind after I watched a couple of fights. I went back and watched a couple of fights, from Sean Brady. So, but I think you did a great job, and I'm gonna be playing a little matchmaking here for Bilal Muhammad. So, the UFC welterweight division is very complicated right now. Before UFC 280, I saw a journalist, ask Dana White a question, actually kind of made a suggestion that they would book a fight between Colby Covington and Khamzat Chimaev. And Dana White pretty much kind of said, yeah, I mean, I'll get on it, we'll make it. But if I were Bilal Muhammad, and I believe he kind of called out, Khamzat Chimaev, in the post fight interview. But if I were him, I would continue. I would call everybody in the UFC. I would go, and every interview I got, any chance that I get, I would ask for this fight with Khamzat Chimaev. And here's why I would do it if I were Bilal Muhammad. I mean, he's on a very big win streak. One over a couple of good fighters. I mean, he looks good. I mean, Bilal Muhammad is ready for a title fight. He's ready for a shot at the title. Unfortunately, again, as I said, the division is a little bit complicated because now you have Leon Edwards, with the upset over Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman being the champion for so long, so now he deserves a rematch, and they're gonna rematch right away. So that means everybody else has to wait. But while the people are waiting, if they make a fight between Colby Covington and Khamzat Chimaev, I'm not sure if it would necessarily be a number one contendership if Colby Covington wins. But I definitely, if Chimaev beats Colby Covington, you can be sure that Dana White is gonna give him a title shot. So basically, he will be next, and that's gonna put Bilal Muhammad in a situation. Then he's gonna have to wait even longer, to fight, at least one more guy or two more guys, before he can finally get a title shot. So if I were Bilal Muhammad, I would do everything in my power, everything I can, to make sure that my next opponent is Khamzat Chimaev, because everybody at the top of the division has already competed, against Kamaru Usman. So I mean, Khamzat Chimaev is looking pretty much the next guy in line. I mean, if he can beat Colby Covington, definitely I don't see how they can deny him the title fight. So if I were Bilal Muhammad, you try to get this fight instead of Colby Covington against Khamzat Chimaev. You guys are brand new. None of you two has fought, for the title before. So why don't you two fight for a true number one contendership spot. So, so that's my advice. I hope Belal Muhammad got it, and he tried to get this fight with Hamza Chimaev. And then we're gonna move on to the main card. So we have Caitlin Chookagian versus Manon Fiorot. This that lady from France. So again, I thought Caitlin Chookagian was gonna be able to get the win, but unfortunately, Manon Fiorot, not unfortunately, but so basically my prediction did come right. I don't have a horse in this race, so it doesn't matter who wins. I just thought that Caitlin Chookagian could have done better, but obviously Manon Fiorot did pretty good. It was a sort of a competitive fight, but I think Manon Fiorot got better of the did better doing the exchanges. So he got a unanimous decision from the judges. And then we're gonna move on to, and actually let me make some little, let me play a little matchmaking there too. So I think Manon Fiorot, obviously will need to. I guess she's really right there, for a title shot because Caitlin Chookagian was the number one, in the division. But again, based on the results of the fight, based on the way the fight played out between Valentina Shevchenko, who is the champion, and Taila Santos, the last time we saw them fight, I had a video where I explained this. Again, guys, you can go back and watch it. So I believe that Taila Santos definitely deserves an immediate rematch, against Valentina Shevchenko. So Manon Fiorot would have to fight, one of the other girls on top, if she doesn't want to wait. But I don't see her getting, a title shot right away, because Taila Santos, I think, is the one who deserves the title shot right now. So now we're gonna move on to Beneil Dariush. Next fight was Beneil Dariush versus Mateusz Gamrot. I had Beneil Dariush won, and he won. He won by unanimous decision. I think he did great. He looked great. And again, to play matchmaking in the lightweight division. So I think for Beneil Dariush, the clear fight for him is Charles Olivera. And we're going to be talking about that because obviously Charles Olivera was the main event against Islam Makhachev, but Makhachev, won the fight. So Charles Olivera, I think he's going to need a fight. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they're going to have him have another fight. And pretty much the next opponent was already set for whoever would have been the champion. So Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Alexander Volkanovski next. So Alexander Volkanovski is gonna move up and wait to try to claim, a second belt. He's the champion for the 145-pound division. So yes, so I think the again, if I were Beneil Dariush, I would do everything that I can to get a fight against somebody like Charles Oliveira, and pretty much this fight could even be at the same card as Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev, for the number one contendership. So whoever wins then would fight the winner of Makhachev versus Volkanovski for the title next. And then we're gonna move on to so the next fight up was Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. Again, I told you guys that was gonna be a great fight. It was gonna be a hard fight, and it was. I'm pretty sure I haven't checked anything online yet, but I'm pretty sure I would be surprised if that was not, fight of the night. And but it was a great fight. Both fighters, had their moments. As far as the ground, Peter Yan took O'Malley, down a few times. Actually, I was surprised that Peter Yan was going to the ground, so much. But Sean O'Malley looked so great on the feet, and I think he knows he had the advantage on the ground. I mean, why not use it? Why take the chance, against somebody as a brilliant striker as Sean O'Malley? Sean O'Malley won by split decision. The fight could have gone either way. I think because of the wrestling, because they both had their good moments on the feet. I think because of the wrestling, I thought that Peter Yan might have won, but Sean O'Malley won, and I predicted that Sean O'Malley would have won. So so for Sean O'Malley, because the fight played the way it played out, even though Peter Yan was the #1 contender, now he beat him. I think it's great. It's great for Sean O'Malley because he shows that he really belongs, to the top. So, but I still think he's not quite there yet for the next title shot. And the way I think they should play this in the division right now. So Aljamain Sterling, which we're gonna talk about, next in a moment. So Aljamain Sterling won against TJ Dillashaw. This is one of prediction that I had. I thought he was gonna win against TJ Dillashaw. So he won via TKO. So anyway, so I think in the division right now, I think Sterling his next fight should be against Henry Cejudo. So thinking that Henry Cejudo will be ready, to fight. I mean, you all, guys who've been watching MMA, he retired, a couple of years ago. Yeah, something about like that, a couple of years ago. So he hasn't been fighting, but the last I heard, he had come back to the testing pool at USADA. So hopefully he'll be ready for the next time. Aljamain Sterling will be ready to defend the title again. So I think his next fight should be against Henry Cejudo, and then Sean O'Malley should fight Chito Vera. I think those two guys is clear. I mean, this is the fight to make. It's Chito Vera versus Sean O'Malley. Then they would be next in line. Whoever wins will be next in line for the title shot. And then so we're gonna move on again, to the Aljamain Sterling versus the Dillashaw this afternoon. Aljamain Sterling did exactly what he does best: control TJ Dillashaw on the ground. Obviously, sorry for TJ Dillashaw. I mean, he had a shoulder injury, some sort of shoulder injury. His shoulder, kept dislocating, and he said it's something that was happening throughout, the training camp, but it happened during the fight. But I really don't think anybody can take anything away from Aljamain Sterling, because the same thing he did to TJ Dillashaw, he did this exact same thing to Peter Yan. I think it is time for people to really give Aljamain Sterling the respect he deserves. I mean, yeah, I think he did. Even if TJ Dillashaw was 110%, 20% healthy, I still believe that Aljamain Sterling would have won the fight. So again, I already kind of did my little play matchmaker there, for those guys. So I'm gonna move on to the main card, the main event, guys. That was I don't want to say that was surprising. I mean, obviously we all knew Islam Makhachev was good. I guess we just did. Personally, I just didn't know that he could do that. He could do that to Charles Oliveira. I mean, because I predicted Charles Oliveira would have won, and I based it, if you go back and watch one of my videos where I break down the fight, I based it, in the fight that best, some of the fights that we have seen, not Islam Makhachev, but his coach and mentor, Habib Nurmagomedov, with, and the same fighters that Charles Oliveira fought, and he did really well against them. But the thing that I think I underestimated, and sorry Islam Makhachev, but hats off to you. I mean, you did a great job. I definitely underestimated Islam Makhachev, striking skills. I mean, he did great, because this is one area I was for sure believed that Oliveira was going to have the edge, in the striking department. But actually it was Islam Makhachev who got the better of the striking. And also I thought Oliveira was going to be the one who was going to be pressing, forward. But I think Islam Makhachev also was the pressure fighter. So, again, hats off to Islam Makhachev. I mean, he did an excellent job. And, yeah, I mean, well deserved, great fight. And again, not even just winning against Charles Oliveira, but to win by submission against Charles Oliveira who is a Brazilian black belt, a black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner, and he has the most submissions in the UFC. So I think that even makes it sweeter and even more interesting, because nobody would have thought that. We thought the Islam Makhachev could have won, but not definitely not by decision. So I already played my matchmaking for the 155 a pound division. So again, we already know Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Alex Volkanovski, next, for his first title defense. And again, I think Charles Olivera should be fighting Benil Dariush, for the number one spot at the division. So guys, that's all I got, for UFC 280. Stay tuned. We're gonna come back with more MMA news, and I'm gonna be, watching, what, again, what had happened, what had transpired, and I'll come back to you to talk more about, about the event and future events, that are coming. And please, guys, remember to go to this comment section below to share your comments. What do you think of? Let me know what you thought of the fights. If you have watched the fights, what do you think of all the fights? At UFC 280. And also, please, guys, don't forget to go and subscribe to the channel. Please. So just stay tuned. We'll be back soon with more MMA information, more MMA news, more take on fights and fighters. Until I see you again, peace out.